Okay, school choice. Florida Department of Education Office is independent education parental choice. 3025 West Ganney Street, Suite 522, Tallahassee, Florida 3239904008502450502. FloridaSchoolChoice.org. Office independent educational parental choice. Budget financing of 2009 CSB grant training. Project award notification. The Florida Department of Education project award notification. First, the items purchased with these funds must be made within the specified budget period. The project with your project recipient name, school name, project number, the authority of the CFDA charters of Title IV, Part B, project program, public chart, school, granting, planning, design, implementation. Project periods, your budget, and your program period. The items purchased with these funds must be made within the specified period. The amendment information, the authorized funding, the reimbursement options, and the timelines. Items purchased must include in the budget narrative of Form Department DOE101, the handout sample of DOD101, the equipment these items used in the classroom, instruction, documentation, cameras, smart boards, computers. These will use student in the classroom, 4 desktop computers in each of the classroom, 40 at $1,000. 30 desktop computers at computer lab at 30 at $1,000. 10 desktop computers for a library. $1,000 a 10. Board governance training requirement provided by the state approved to the training provider. When completing the Department of Education 1001 for the budget narratives of Department or Department of Education 151, the amendments be specific in column 3 by including the category use of grades, room, etc., description, quantity, price per unit. Additional types of completing the Department of Education 101 answer the following questions. What grades will be using the item? What rooms will the furniture and equipment be used? What staff members attending the training? How many and how many? What is the name of the software? What is the average cost per the item? How many items do we wish to purchase? Additional tips for completing 801-101 is check for your math. Verifying quantity of the items purchased in a line is correctly multiplied by the average cost per item. The total equals the amount in the column 5. Make sure that the total amount equals the total approved amount of the budget period. For instance, the economy title of the narrative, the equipment the items will be used in the classroom instruction, document cameras, and smart boards is $2,300. And the FTE position and the Part 5 fulfilled in column 5. The total equals amount in column 5. For budget amendments, project recipients shall submit a project amendment request. Department of Education 150 describing the reason for making the budget revisions. The must be accompanied by the budget amendment narrative of the Department of Education 151, which shall list any of the budget items that are being amended, such as in the Green Book, Section B of the Florida Department of Education Comptroller G&B Green Book ASP. Handout 5 and 6 of the sample Department of Education 150 and 151. The Florida Department of Education org FEFP red table of contents. Here is the financial program costing and accounting and reporting of the Florida Schools Red Book 2001. The introduction, Chapter 1, 2, balancing sheet accountants, 3, revenue accounts, 4, expenditure costs. Expenditure accounts, 5, program cost accounting reporting, 6, internal service funds, chapter 7, school internal funds, 8, fiduciary funds, appendix A, supplementary equipment criteria, and B, appendix B, optional object codes. Federal procurement policies, title 34 of the CFR 7440, 7448 must perform the cost pricing analysis by obtaining the documentation at least 3 bids quotes for the appropriate purchase. That's on Title 34 Code Federal Regulations 7040 and 7448 through 7448. Most ensure the vendor selected in the service purchases must be responsible or not solely based on the price. Federal procurement policies of Title 34 Code Federal Regulations 7440, 7448 conflicting the interest may not participate in selection awarded administrative processes if the conflicting of the interest exists. The COI, the conflict of interest, exists when the employee, officer, or any other member of his or her immediate family, his or her partner, or organization which employs the parties indicating herein the financial or other interest in the firm selected for the award. Edgar's 7442. Project funds must be used for activities that directly support the accomplishment of the project proposal and priorities expected outcomes. All expenditures must be consistent with the applicable state and federal laws, regulations, and guidance. Examples: purchase of necessary classroom furniture, computer software, audio-visual equipment, purchase of curriculum materials, educational equipment development, recruitment materials, public outreach of programs, professional development, teachers and staff development and programs, school evaluation strategies, materials, newspaper, TV, radio advertisement, marketing, payment, consolation, performing, working directly related to the program, operating of the charter school, refinement of the educational goals, measure objectives, ongoing board and leadership training. Travel expenses paid with the grant funds must be documented on the appropriate travel forms, authorization, reimbursement forms available with the Comptroller website at florida.org or Comptroller Forms ASAP. Handout 9, 10, and 11, Travel Authorization Reimbursement Information Sheet. Project funds may not be used to supplement existing programs, and any other funds may not be used to benefit pre-K programs. Federal regulations expressly prohibit the acquisition of facilities and construction. Federal regulations do not allow recipients and spending funds for expenditures which were encumbered prior to the effective date of the project award. Playground equipment, athletic equipment, and sports uniforms, repair, maintenance, and classroom buildings, planning, zoning, traffic studies, demographic studies, or site inspections, BlackBerry, cell phones, telephones, walkie-talkie radios, food, cafeteria equipment, food or cafeteria equipment. These are prohibited. Fire alarm, bell systems, refrigerators, freezers, microwaves, outdoor tables, receptionists, furniture, furnishing equipment, all staff, offices, administrative supplies, and other administrative supplies of the PA systems and flags. Commonly of the grant funds is prohibited. Only a school that receives the grant award may benefit from the award. The funds may not be used to purchase goods, services, or for any other school at the same location under the same management as the recipient school. Grant recipients must be able to track all expenditures back to the funding source. Document expenses. If required to support documentation for all expenses, this includes payroll records, written contracts, invoices, receipts, travel vouchers, requisition, use Department of Educational travel forms. The tracking items as you spend. This is handout 12. Sample items expense report. Function code 5110, object code 510, check number, textbook, warehouse, social studies, Huntington, Mifflin, Harcourt, 60 students, 6 teachers, 5010, 6040, 2152, school outfitters, classroom, furniture, combo, desks, and grades, 510, 640, 2152, Dell, classroom, computers, this is trackable. Handout 7, track items as you spend, itemized expense report. Each charter school is required to utilize a sponsor as official agent. Distribution of funds vary by the sponsors and districts. Grants recipients will be required to submit the recipient's inventory report to the sponsor for reimbursement. Development and strong financial policy related to the budget. Approval amendments, procedures, separation, duties, cash control, capital assessment, management, payroll, personnel administration. Governing members of the board shall be able to understand and interpret financial reports, balance sheets, revenues, expenditures, budget versus actual expenses, cash flow projections, recognize red flags. Questions and answers.